I'm Nigel Griffiths. I work in the Advanced Technology Centre in the UK, part of IVM Europe. This IVM movie is about optical devices. There are two ways to look at our optical devices. First of all, we can look at a logical partition level. And we click on optical devices here. And we can see this logical partition has the DVD-ROM drive assigned to it. And we have no virtual optical devices. We'll look at those in a moment. Another way of looking at our optical device is at the system level, which is the one I actually prefer to use. We look at virtual storage here, and again optical devices. We can see this machine now has just the one CD-ROM drive. Some machines of course allow us to have more, and is actually a DVD-ROM drive in this case, and it's assigned to this logical partition. If we select the DVD and modify the partition, we can simply click in here to change it to none, which is unassigned, or to a different logical partition. Little warning here, if we do this, the original logical partition has the DVD ripped off it, so it will actually then get errors if it continues to talk to the DVD-ROM drive, just as if you unplugged a SCSI device. It will and it was online, then you'll actually get errors from that point. So it's good to make sure that in your originating logical partition, the device 1 is in use and 2 is actually offline. I'll actually cancel that because I don't need to do that at the moment. Now let's look at how we're going to create a library of virtual optical media and how we control that. Let's first look at a diagram to understand how that fits together. For our virtual optical library, we're going to assign it a chunk of disk. Think of 32 gigabytes or something. And in that library, we're going to put various ISO images, a copy of a CD or a DVD. And then we can use those images much like we can a physical CD device. So we can mount those onto a particular logical partition and read them. We also have the ability to mount the same ISO image into multiple logical partitions at the same time, so they can all read that device. Because it's actually supported on disk, it's actually quite a bit faster than a physical optical device. We can also create a read-write optical image. I like to think of this as a DVD-RAM type device. Only one logical partition can read and write it at a time. We create it a fixed size, just like we would with a DVD media, for example. But after that, we can read and write into that device. We can see here we have 4 different options. The first 3 are for the read-only ISO images. The first one is to upload the media from my workstation. I'm running on a Windows XP machine. Here's my ISO image, and I could ask it to open that. If I hit OK there, it will upload that over the network from my workstation to the IVM server. It's limited by the network speed, of course, and there's a 2 GB file limit. Of course, some DVDs will be a lot larger than that. Another way is using an existing file actually on the IVM server itself. So I've previously FTP'd it. This is the home directory of the padmin user. So I could input the file here. As I've already transferred it, if I clicked OK, it will take that file, it will copy it into the library. It won't actually affect this file in my home directory here. Another way of doing it is to take something from the DVD in the machine. So I could click on this particular one, because there may be more than one. It will then take the data from the CD, and I'd have to give it a new name, as the DVD itself doesn't actually have a .iso file name. I'm going to use this add existing one, and here's the name of my file here. This last one we'll look at later. So now I have a virtual optical media in my optical library, and I could select that, modify partition assignment, and I could give it to a particular logical partition. This is the only one with an optical device actually at the moment. Okay, now it's assigned to it. Let's go and create an optical device on the other logical partition here. Optical device, create a device, and here it is. We can OK that. Come back to my virtual storage device, optical devices, I can now give it to this new optical device on my other logical partition. Okay, now you can see it's connected to both devices. They can both read it. You can see actually here it's fairly small, it's 10 megabyte image. And finally we'll show you how to create the read-write device. Create a blank media, we'll make it read and write. We might later want to make it read only. We give it a name, DVD 42, and we'll make it fairly small because it's a bit quicker. You may actually want to make them larger. The IVM server is then going to allocate the space, and it's going to write it full of zeros, initializing the file. There we go, give it a second, and we'll get the second on the list. Here's 42, it's a read-write device, and 1 gigabyte. And again, we could assign this to a particular logical volume. Now this can be used for backup purposes. We can either create a DVD ISO type image straight into this device, or we could actually do a tar backup, pipe it through DD and output into this device. This actually gives us a very nice method of using network free and SAN free backup onto the virtual I/O server. I use that in some customers where the actual logical partition is in a hostile network environment directly connected to the internet. Let's first disconnect our ISO image here, so we free up our optical devices. We can create more optical devices as another option. Then we can add this partition to one particular device. If we try to connect it to two, that would actually fail. Okay, so logical partition 2 now has this read-write device attached. We could also delete our images in here by selecting it and hitting delete. A little bit of a warning here, if you select one and then hit download, it will actually copy this image to your workstation, which is not quite what I was expecting. If it's 10 megabytes, that's okay. If it was a 20 gigabyte image, that would promptly fill up all the disks on my workstation. Not a very friendly thing to do. Well, that's optical devices. The physical device is very easy to move around between the different logical partitions, but the ISO image library is very much easier to work with. It allows you to, for example, build up a library of your operating system images, so you can install your operating systems, perhaps your updates, and perhaps ISO images of your applications that you typically want to install. And then they're readily available, and you can also do backups into the read-write device.